Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mike Plays RP1. This is the series in which I am working through the programs and contracts in the RP1 mod pack, as well as there's some extra mods that I've also attached onto this, just simply because I like them. The entire list is down there in the description if you want to try this for yourself. And as really an RP1 novice, I am, kind of still learning and working things out. That's what I kind of love about this game, is it never stops teaching you stuff. And what you see before me is my orbital rocket prototype. This is a rocket I've been working on, actually started at the end of 2 episodes ago, all the way through last episode. And if you want to see a link to last episode, you'll find one up here at the top right. And in all of the fussing about, really, last episode was mostly about me actually working out McJeb's ascent guidance system. And I think I am zeroing it out, and this rocket is just coming shy of what's required for the contract. It can reach orbit, but its altitude's just not there, because I'm trying to do this first artificial satellite contract, and I need to have the periapsis above 150 kilometers, and it got to something like 147 kilometers. I'm just a few kilometers shy. I also want to point out that this rocket does little more than get itself into orbit, so it would be nice to put on some sort of science-y payload so that it can actually do some good. And I'm thinking what I probably will do is actually use this upper stage really as just a sustainer stage, the get it into orbit stage, and then on the very, very tippy top, what I think I'll probably do is just put a little payload, little science payload with an SRB under it, and just at the end fire that off for the final part of the insertion. Anyway, that is kind of the plan. So I'm looking at this and really wanted to just do some final tweaks. I wanted to achieve this on its own before I put the SRB on the top, is really what I'm looking at, and then we'll paint this up. Now, what else we have going here? We have, well, in the hangar, I have my U2 high altitude jet being constructed by the engineers in there, and that is for the contract. Let me switch over to my crude contracts. Not that one, this one, stratospheric research, which requires getting to an altitude of 22 kilometers and flying there in level flight, and that still has to get built. As well, what's going on is sitting in storage is the Bell X4, and that's for this high altitude contract here to get a crew up to an altitude of at least 55 kilometers. Maybe we'll get them up a little bit higher, and then of course bring them back safely. This is a rocket plane. It is dropped from a carrier craft, yeah, it doesn't fly for long, but it flies with a lot of punch in its back end. That's what it does. And so that is actually sitting in the hangar ready to go. What I don't have is a pilot. They're on their R&R session, taking a little bit of a break after the previous couple of missions, but they'll be ready in just a couple of days. So why don't we see what we can do with this fella? So a couple of things I was thinking about. One is I picked this kind of dome shape here just because I thought it looked kind of cool, but I think Ferram really does look at the shape of this, so I think making this a little bit smoother, a little bit pointier might give me a little bit more to work with. Let's, while I'm doing this, open up the Delta V tools and keep track of that. We'll also close that. There we go. Okay. I want to maintain this 2 minutes of burn time that's in this lower stage. So what I'm going to do, I'm just right-clicking on the tank. I can change the nose up here to something else. So I picked the dome because it looked good, and then I thought, you know what, probably I should try. I'm not 100% sure aerodynamics plays a part in it, but I got me a feeling it kind of does. So let's go with something that just looks more like that. Maybe even a little longer, like that. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about, right? And it looks like the diameter at the top is still exactly the same. That's good. I can see that put in a little bit of extra fuel, so we're going to bring down the length of this tank a little bit. Again, shooting for 2 minutes. Oh, I can get 2 minutes right on the button. I see it there. There we go. Okay, so I think that might help a little bit. The other thing that was happening is these little tail fins, which are here to help stabilize this upper stage when it gets released, because the RCS just has a little bit of trouble doing that. Once it's up into above the Kármán line, no issues at all steering, but when it's down in the atmosphere, when it gets released, it has a little bit of trouble. And I turned down the strength multiplier down to almost nothing to save some weight, but they blew up on ascent, so I'm going to increase that strength multiplier just a little bit. Let's go with 0.15, which is 3 times as strong as they just were. And yeah, I think with that, we're going to save this. Check my staging real quick. I think, no, that's definitely not right. All of this needs to be in the same stage. That is right. Okay. So we'll save this guy, and we'll give her a simulation and see if we can not get this fella into orbit. Now, not just get it into orbit, but actually satisfy the conditions of the contracts as well. So we'll get our ascent guidance here all set. Now, what I'm going to try doing, I wrote little notes to myself at where this sort of left off, and one is to try and change the pitch rate a little bit so it pitches over a little bit more. The other thing I'm thinking of getting back into, I started playing with this Q alpha without really understanding what it was towards the beginning of the stream, thinking it was actually more like this Q trigger, but I might actually start playing with this, because the lower I make this Q alpha, again, you can think of it as it will limit the angle of attack. That's my understanding. It will limit the angle of attack until pressure gets down to a certain point, well, combination of speed and pressure. And so if I lower this number, I think it will limit the angle of attack in the upper part of the atmosphere. We'll see. We'll see what this is. But right now, I think this is ready to go. So we just got to engage our autopilot, and we just got to punch it. And there we go. We are off. And for those people that didn't catch last week's episode or just like to be reminded of it, the 2 motors here on the bottom are the L43 LR89 engines. No upgrades on them. They're still on the base ones. And these were the motors that lift the real-world Atlas rocket, the Atlas 1, when it first set off. Biggest problem I have with them is that their chances of ignition are just a little bit over 75%. I think it's like 76 point something percent, which means the chances of both of them igniting are just a little over 50%. So we'll have to make sure that when we launch, if they don't both ignite, that it will not release the launch clamps, and then we can just recover, refurbish, and all that kind of stuff. That will be really important. At the top here, we have the Stentor engine hidden in there. This is a cruise missile engine from the British, from the UK, a 1950s era missile. Seems to serve really well for the purpose it has up here, but it has no, these guys are gimbaled, so that's what's controlling the rocket right now. But the Stentor up top, I've got a feeling I'm saying that wrong. Stentor, I can't even click on it, but it doesn't have any gimbaling, so for attitude control there is a little bit of RCS up here. So first off, we got to make sure that, are we on to, no, oh, we're into this, yes. So now this pitch over part's what I kind of don't really like. I wouldn't mind if that happened later. And I can control this with the Q trigger, so maybe make this even smaller still. Okay, we're starting to get some red bars on those fins, but as long as they don't blow up, it's fine. Alright, we're about to stage. There goes our Stentor stage. Again, nice and stable with the fins. That is great. That is awesome. It's pitching up just a little bit, and now it's back doing very, very well. Alright, cool, cool, cool. That battery warnings for the stage that just left us. Apparently, I can in here, I think, this one. If I get into the config part, I can get it to not show me these battery warnings. Maybe just turn that off. There's no electricity in orbital. Well, I just turned you off. Well, maybe I wasn't quite quick enough. I think that'll do the trick. Just so I don't get those battery warnings on the previous stage. Okay, how are we doing here? How are we doing? We are still got quite a bit of fuel left over, right? According to the, like, not halfway yet. Still about 70 seconds of burn time left. And our orbital velocity is just getting to 5,000 meters per second. We are at the correct apogee, so it's actually pitching down just a little bit to keep the apogee under control. Alright, and now it's just about pouring on the speed. We are in space. I'm wondering if I also could, because if you notice, the apogee actually goes up quite high. Well, then again, no, actually, no, just leave it. Just leave it. I was thinking of actually bringing down the target apogee, but no, because I can't bring the apogee below what the perigee is, so no, we'll leave it all alone. Leave it all alone. And it's bringing the apogee down. That's sort of the way it works. All right, 73, 7,400, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh. And again, 147.7. Gosh, it feels like no matter what I do, this thing just doesn't make it. But I think the fins are doing their job now. They're not blowing up anyway. Still a lot of helium here. I could take out a lot of that, but that doesn't save a whole heck of a lot of weight. I'm thinking the positions of these RCS blocks are not super. Just realizing that. Oh, no, actually, I think they are. I think they're fine. Here, I think it's just the way the camera is. Yes, no, they're fine where they are. I was thinking they were on, like, this one's the dorsal side, this one's the ventral side. I think it's perfect, yes. I thought they were sort of cockeyed between the different attitude directions, but they're not. All right, what I'm going to do, revert to flight. People that caught last week's video, or last time's video. I keep saying last week's, but was just probably 2 or 3 days ago for you. Let's restart the simulation. Let's change this time the Q trigger. Let's half it again. 4 kilopascals. Really, really thin atmosphere before it does the pitch up. Or pitch over. And then I might start playing with this Q alpha limit. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's go. I'm not really sure the changing of this shape really made much of a difference. Going to this pointier, more streamlined kind of look. Anyway, I was about to say, people that were catching last week's, keep saying last week's, the last videos, the last video, know that these reverting all the time. I mean, that's part of the equation with RP1, is you spend a lot more time running simulations and in the VAB and spaceplane hangar than you do actually flying missions. But tweaking and iterating is part of the experience, and part of what I want to do with this series is give you kind of what the experience is like with RP1 as I kind of go my way through. I'm not following other people's leads. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. I do there now. It's pitching over. It's doing the prime vector guidance thing. Really doing it now. Wow. I don't know if I want to pitch over. I could pitch over harder. Maybe that might not be a bad idea. Okay, we're about to stage. Alright, we're off. Again, looks pretty stable. It's working to try and bring itself back. There's always a little bit of wobbliness that goes with the staging event. Now we're good. I think I have the strength on these fins just perfect. As you can see there, they're not blowing up, and now the temperature on them is going down. Do some more time warping again. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I do have another RP1 series that I did probably quit it about a year ago, and in that one I was editing the whole thing down. I am getting still those errors. Oh, because this is config. Okay, yes, because this is simulation mode, so any changes I make, it just reverts back when I restart the simulation. And in my previous series, I did do a heavy amount of editing. And it became so overwhelming to make the videos. It took 20-30 hours of gameplay sometimes to make one, what I cut down to maybe like a 40-minute video, I think is what they typically were in length. And it just became so arduous. And to be quite frank, the algorithm really doesn't reward you for that. These get as much views as those videos do. And they're much easier to make, and I get a lot of comments from people saying that they really do like seeing me going through all the iteration, because one of the complaints I got from the previous series was that it was hard to follow with all the editing, the builds and the process of getting the rockets to fly. Alright, how are we doing here? We're getting there. Under 20 seconds left in the burn. Let's take the time warp off. Why are you not going off there, time warp? It still says 2 times speed. I don't think it's 2 times speed. It just says 2 times speed. That's weird. You're weird. I'm not gonna worry about it. Did worse. It did worse. 144. All right. Revert to editor, or restart simulation. So I don't think the Q trigger really made much, or it made it worse. So I'm going to put it back to where it was. I'm going to try pitching over a little bit more quickly. So changing that pitch rate. Let's see how that does for me. So we'll try it at a booster pitch rate of 0.9 degrees per second. Okay, engage, RCS, and go. And because I don't think I did give a very good explanation of the ascent guidance system, just to give people an update of how I understand it for now. So, in the, here, let's turn this part off. In the target section here, it's very simple. You just put in your target periapsis, apoapsis, and inclination, and just kind of leave it like that. I'm going to actually take the time warp off while it's going through all this. What's the thing to figure out is this guidance section of it, and what all this means. So the best explanation I got was in a comment explaining the 3 phases of the ascent. So phase 1 is it just goes straight up until it reaches a 50 meters per second, and then it begins to pitch over, and then it goes through the pitch program, which it's just about to come out of, but it was in there where it was going over at a pitch rate of 0.9 degrees per second, just very steadily. And then, it's about to do it now, it goes into the stable guidance status. That's where it starts to pitch over. You can see that even more. It's using this prime vector guidance thing, some sort of math wizardry that I don't pretend to understand. And when it makes that transition is when the Q gets below, which is just looking at the pressure on the rocket, gets below, in this case I set it to 8 kilopascals. So it's a combination of speed and atmosphere pressure. Okay, we're now on to our next stage. And at that point it goes to the prime vector guidance part of this, and it's going to stay in this mode until it achieves these targets. And that's kind of the way it works. And now it's controlling pitch. It's using pitch to try and control what the apogee and the perigee is going to be. So once the apogee starts creeping over 150 kilometers, which is the target, it begins to pitch down. And finally, from what I've read on this Q alpha business, is that it is moderating the angle of attack. And I think it's still the same thing. If you make it lower, it won't deviate as far from the prograde vector. So I'm really thinking maybe making this lower might not be a bad idea. We'll see. I did look at the wiki a little bit, and it said you typically just don't need to mess with this too much. Okay, let's see if the 0.9 made a difference, if it's better. If it's better, I might go to 1 degree and just kind of keep playing with that. I did have a setback last episode as well because I end up accidentally disabling the RCS. So the RCS wasn't working and my rocket was obviously going to lose control because of that. And it took me a few launches to use simulations before I realized that the RCS wasn't working. It wasn't just a fault. It was a dumb fault like that, not something involved in the ascent profile or anything like that. So I ended up wasting a fair amount of time on that, but that's kind of the way it goes, doesn't it? Okay. Now here's a good illustration where you can see how much it's pitched down, but you can also see how that is bringing the apogee down, while at the same time still bringing that perigee up. Alright, let's see what we get. It's so close to the line. 144, it's worse again. So honestly, that 0.8 seemed to be about the magic sauce, wasn't it? Okay, I'm going to do another simulation. And this time I'm going to put this back at 0.8. And this time I'm going to reduce the Q alpha to 1,000. Half of what it was before. It says you can't. There was a number. Has to be, can't be set lower than 100. So I'm going to go with 1,000, which is half of what it was before. And we're going to do this again. Another thing that complicates this whole process, and this is why I think I am closing in on how much of this I'm going to keep doing, is there is slight variation in the performance of the engines every time you run it. There's a bit of an RNG factor that goes into this. So seeing very small differences in very small differences in the I can get words out. In the final parameters, in this case I'm really looking at where that periapsis ends up. Seeing those tiny differences could not be, it could be more about just slight variations in how the rocket engines perform than it has to do with anything that I'm doing here. But I don't know what else to do, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now it shouldn't deviate as much from the prograde vector. That's my understanding when we go into that third phase of the ascent. Okay, so I'm going to take the time warp off. I'm really going to pay attention to what it's doing. It is now in the guidance phase, and it's still pitching over a fair bit, but wow, it's pitching over a lot. Maybe I have this backwards. Look at that sideways it's going almost. Well, you know, the proof is in the pudding, right? Let's see what we get when it's all done. Alright, and there we go. Again, a little bit of work it has to do to put itself back onto track, but then it seems to find where it wants to be pretty quickly. Okay, a little time warping. We'll see where she ends up. Better, worse, or not. That's what happens. Every time those warnings comes up, it turns off my time warp. That's what threw me off last time. and we are closing in. How much time? Oh, we're almost done with our burn here. Oh my gosh, look how close. 40, like 49, like less than 2 kilometers shy of what is required to satisfy the contract. So what I think I'll do, I'm honestly thinking I'm closing in on just about as good as this is gonna get. Which is frustrating me a little bit, because I feel like I should be able to get this to work, but it just doesn't want to. Was a little better. Let's half it again. Let's do another one. Let's see. Restart simulation. And this time what we're gonna do is half this again to 500. See if that makes a big difference. And just to kind of do anything to make this a little bit more, let's aim the camera, and we'll put the camera on locked, and we'll lock it to the top here so we can just get like a view of this whole rocket as she ascends. Okay, RCS on, just to change things up a little bit. Again, time warping, starting into the pitch program. Okay, and yeah, I don't think I want to go more than 2 times warp at this phase of this. And yeah, getting through. What do we got here on the burn time? 30 seconds left on this stage. Now it's really starting to pitch over. No, that's right. This is worse. Look at, oh my god, I have this backwards, this Q alpha. I have to have this backwards. Look at how aggressive that was. Look at how aggressive that was. I have this backwards, this Q alpha limit, for sure. That was way more aggressive. Okay, we're going to time warp again. And we're going to see where we end up. I'm sort of losing track of what the default value is of this Q alpha. What is it when you just leave it alone? I can probably look that up. Alright, closing in, closing in. We are about 10 seconds away from engine cutoff here. Take off the time warp. We'll see where we end up. Is it better? Worse? It's pretty much the same. Oh my god, it's getting better. It is, for whatever reason, getting better. 149. So that aggressive turn, as much as, like, in my mind it feels like it shouldn't be like that's worse. It seems to be better. Okay. I think I've gotten this. I think I'm going to call this one. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to revert back this time to the editor. And we're going to put a payload on this guy. So a couple of things is, again, I've been noticing no issues with the amount of propellant here. So I'm going to turn down the utilization on this to like 5%. Half of what it was before. That seems to be perfectly fine. What I want to do is put a little on this top stage. A little You know what I'm saying. A little thing and a little SRB on the top stage. I can say these things. Okay, so, and then this is gonna work for sure. I don't particularly like it, but I can't imagine how it's not going to work. So, let me think. I want, this is on a cone, so I want the top to have a little bit of diameter to it. Maybe 300 millimeters? I don't know. How big? Now, if I take a look at my small SRBs, tiny solids. These are tiny, so small solids. I have the Aerojet. I do have the Nike. I think the Nike might be my best one. 0.0544. Oh, it's way lighter too. Oh, that's the Aerojet, sorry. So that's the Aerojet from before. What's this one then? Well, I have two. Oh, I have an improved Aerojet. Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at these more. I have an improved Aerojet now that I've not used before. This was the Aerojet 2.5 KS. I've used that a lot, but this one's the Aerojet 1.8 KS. Thrust of 34 kilonewtons in a vacuum. Oh, this one has a lot more thrust, but I don't know if I need the thrust. I just need 2 seconds of burn time. That's why it's so much lighter. I don't know if maybe lighter, and I don't need that thrust. It's not going to be pushing too much. ISP of 238. This one's ISP of 198. Okay, so this one might be the better choice. Now, if I go down here, I do have a collection of other ones. I do have, well, there's the old Tiny Tim. But I do have this Nike booster. I think the Nike booster might just be too much. It's much heavier than this Aerojet that we have here. Burns for 5 seconds. I'm honestly thinking, let's try this new little Aerojet and see what that's like. So that's gonna sit there. I think that works pretty good. Let's get a decoupler. I don't even think I'm gonna put any kind of I think I just used to use this all the time. Put that down to 300 meters. Yep. Actually, no, what I need to have, because this is going to be hot stage, this little guy is what I used to use. That's the ticket. 300 meters. And just bring the vertical scale down a little bit so that this guy sits on top. This is, actually, I don't know, it doesn't need to be hot staged. It's an SRB. And then on top of all of this is going to go another aeronautics package. But this fella is going to be the science core. Avionics Pro. I always pick the best you got. Lordy lord, it does not need a lot of electricity. So let's take the electricity amount, put it right down to, I don't know, 50. 300 meters, I think. We're going to go to a smooth cone. 300 meters on the bottom. For now, maybe even less. Top is going to be 0. Does not want me putting it down to 0. Oh, wait. Why did it put so much electricity in there? Okay, top down to 0. Why won't it let me? Let's put in. It just keeps wanting me to. I think it's because it doesn't like. Okay. 1 then. Boy. Why won't it let me bring that top down? Okay, if I make it longer. Smooth cone. There it goes. I want to have a really small top. Might be that it just needs to be that much longer because of the electricity requirements. Now, if I'm going to do this, I am going to do some science in here. So let's configure the science right away. And we're going to put in a magnetometer. Barometer, thermometer, or a mass spectrometer. That's what it is. It needs to run, duration is 2 hours. I don't think I have anything else, no. Duration for the experiment is 2 hours. So what I would like here, what we're going to do here, let's get all of this out of the way. Make that the root part. So I can just remove this and take a look at what we got here. So it needs to run for 2 hours. So that's a reasonable amount of batteries. 50? I only have... Doesn't have, it's collected 40%, so an hour and a half I'm sure would be fine. It'd be lovely if it could just sit up there and collect all that science for me. Apply and resize to fit. Alright. That's now 30 minutes. Let's go a little longer. I guess 150. Apply, resize to fit. Well, there's still some empty space in there. Now I got an hour and a half of electricity on there. Okay. And we can... Oh, I haven't started the experiment yet. An hour and 26 minutes. That should be fine. Okay, and obviously the staging is completely deborkified here, isn't it? That's the SRB. It's gotta go on the top. Like you, and there's also that decoupler. Now, did that put the mass? Mass is still under 70 tons. That should be good. Mass of this stage, you just gotta make sure the avionics is all good. So the very top is going to be unguided. That's okay. Take that off. This now has a mass of just over 9 tons, and this can hold... This has way too much electricity on board. I don't know why I'm even thinking it needs all this electricity. Why has it got so much electricity? Anyway, this is set to 10 tons. So what we can do is put this down, or 50? Even 50 I think is probably a lot. Resize to fit that. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that tall. There we go. And then this stage still will run for an hour and 26 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Okay, close this. Oh my god, I think the staging is all right. That's kind of incredible. So here's the whole shebang now with its little doober up here at the top doing a little bit of science for me. But I think that's going to do it over the top. All the TWRs are still very comfortable. Not an issue there. All right, let's save this and let's give her a go. All right, so, yeah, okay, engage. We'll leave everything the same because that seemed to have been my best effort thus far. And we'll just punch it. Okay, and we're off. Also want to build a new launch stand for this thing. I think that'd be cool. And we're going to load a bit of a boot program up in there, too. Alright. And we'll paint her up. All kinds of things still to do. Okay, time warp. Time warp, time warp. It feels at first kind of funny having like these avionic parts on these stages here that you simply just throw away. But I don't think that's all particularly unusual. I'm actually wondering, that's another thought. Look at that pitch over. My gosh. That is just bonkers. But you can't argue with results. Alright, we're coming close to the staging event. Alright, we're off. Again, is it gaining back control? It is. Look how far it's pitched down. That is... but look at where the apogee is. That's why. Wow. Alright, well, anyway, it's doing it. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I'm debating whether these fins are doing much for me anymore. I really seem to have my doubts on that. Alright, we're gonna give her again a little bit of time warping. What I was about to say just before the staging event is we have 3 sets of avionics. We have this guy, which is unguided at the top, and I want to keep it that way because I want to keep it really light. But I have 2 sets of guided avionics, and I'm wondering if it might be better to have just 1 set. I don't know. To put one, and it would have to be this one, and to make this one massive enough to deal with the entire rocket. I'm actually thinking that's probably not a good idea. But throwing away avionics with stages is actually not that weird. I know that happened with Apollo. I've learned that from playing Re-Entry. Okay, we're going to get a staging event. We are not getting a staging event. Okay, we'll do it that way. Periapsis is still too low. All it did was push up the apoapsis to a ridiculous amount. Oh my god! What the heck? Okay, let me think about this. So what ended up happening if we go to here is the periapsis is still just too low. But I got a really nice high apoapsis. Now I should be at least gathering science and transmitting. It's running that mass spectrometer. It's going to run for another hour. And this thing has 1 hour and 22 minutes of electric charge aboard. So it's, you know, going to be happy with that. It's already transmitted 0.2 science. And that will happen in the background, by the way. Is there something in this ascent guidance? Because it didn't stage, and that kind of bugged me. Why didn't it stage? I don't know. If I look into options, let's just look into options here. Limit Q, limit acceleration, limit throttle, keep throttle limited over 100%. Yeah, I always want to have the throttle, but I don't even have that toggled on. It should probably be toggled on. Auto staging, yeah. Support hot staging. Yep. I don't know why it didn't stage that final rocket. It's not a big deal. And I can actually write a nice KOS program to deal with that staging. A simple KOS program to deal with that staging. I'm just curious why it didn't bother. Alright, what I think I'll do then, because this thing reaches comfortably, is simply increase these 2 parameters. So let's revert our flight. And just have it go to a higher apoapsis and periapsis. Revert here. I think I actually just realized why I think McJeb didn't stage the top part. It's because it's unguided. And I've heard McJeb just simply doesn't like unguided parts. But that's not actually, I don't care. That's fine. I'm comfortable with that. So what I'm going to do is increase these two numbers, 155, yeah, I know and 155. So it's just a little bit higher. It reaches it comfortably. I don't see any kind of problem with that. And then the hard pitch over really is bugging me, so I'm going to put this back to 2000. It might not be as efficient, but it's really kind of bugging me. Just aesthetically, I don't find it very pleasing. All right. There. And this, I'm hoping, is the last one. Well, then again, if I want to remove these tail fins, the reason why I was thinking the tail fins weren't doing me very much is because there was such a huge angle of attack, and the RCS was having no problem holding the huge angle of attack. I know it was in the very, very top part of the atmosphere, but the fact that it was able to hold that without any difficulty told me that aerodynamic forces really aren't that big a play. Here comes that pitch over again. So, I don't know. I like that better. Even if it's not quite as efficient, I think I like it better. I might keep the fins, too. I think they help right here. As the RCS works to get back on track, RCS is just barely capable enough. I should also take a look and make sure, because I did dramatically reduce the amount of helium, and make sure I have 0 helium. Why do I have 0 helium all of a sudden? What happened there? So the RCS is doing nothing. What the heck happened there? Why do I have 0 helium? Yeah, I'm out of control. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Restart. So it uses helium. There should be helium in this tank. Okay, there's helium now, and I shouldn't be using the helium until that guy stages, unless it uses it up like so quickly. Just watching this helium. You know what? I'm going to restart this. I think it just used it up that quickly. Oh, I'm wondering if I should play with this Q alpha limit again. So that seemed when... Again, I'm not convinced I know exactly what that's doing. It might be limiting the angle of attack before it gets into the third phase. That's what I'm starting to think. There. Gonna monitor that helium. I think it used up that helium so much when it, right off the bat, when it released that stage. I might just need to up that tank again a little bit. But it might be limiting the angle of attack right now, so it ends up higher when it releases this. So it's not really looking totally at this point 8 degrees per second. I don't know. Hard to tell. And that's why when it gets up to the third phase, it pitches over really hard, because it didn't pitch over so hard before, which really tells me that maybe this booster pitch rate just shouldn't be as high as it is. I don't know. Okay, watching the helium here. It's already using it a little bit. Why are you using helium? There, now it's really using it, which is understandable. But it's bringing it under control. Yeah, that just seemed to work better. I think that in that previous release, during that previous simulation, I think it was so far off of where it wanted to be, and the RCS was working really hard, it just sucked up this helium like nothing. Okay, I'm gonna leave this all like this. If this all works okay. So now I've changed this target apogee to 155 kilometers, which means the perigee should be over 150. That's all I care about when it releases this little fella. Okay, time warp. Time warp. My little science payload up there. I should pay attention to what my final apogee comes up to, because there is a first scientific satellite one, and it's like, and you can have both of them going at the same time, and I might be able to do 2 contracts at once, but it requires you to get an apogee that's pretty high. Then again, this apogee did get pretty high, so I might take a look just at contracts real quick and see if maybe I can do a twofer, because that'd be cool. Okay, so we're just about at the end of this, and now stage that. Jeb's completely out to lunch, but that's okay. So I did get an apogee. Look at that, 4,600. I'm going to write that number down. Oh, I don't have a pencil with me. Well, that's sad. 4,600 kilometers. I got to remember that. But I think this has to be that contract. I don't see a contract. Oh, it's got to be up. That's right. It's got to be up for a couple minutes. Uncrewed missions. Achieve orbit about the Earth with a minimum perigee of 150 kilometers. Periapsis is 150. So this just hasn't gone green because it's got to wait. Here, we'll just time warp this just to convince myself that that is true. There we go. See, so the contract here is being completed. But if I want to take a look at that other contract, because I might be able to do a twofer for this, because I got such a high apogee. I also want to check electricity just real quick. I got an hour and 3 minutes left on this experiment to run, and there is an hour and 17 minutes left in here. So I think it's going to be fine. So this thing will transmit back a bunch of science while it's up there too. Nicey nice. Okay. We're going to revert back to the editor. 4,600 kilometers. I got to remember that. Okay. Save you. Exit. All right. There is early satellites light. This guy. First scientific satellite. Ah, it's just shy of that. Okay, we'll have to play around with this because I have to add on a lot of payloads. So this is, oh, and the perigee has to be over 200 kilometers. So there's, okay, a little bit more involved with this one. You have to have the cosmic ray science-y thingy. I think maybe I have that. I don't know. Cosmic ray science. I might not even have that science experiment. Be down here. Oh, it's probably one of the... Oh, God, I need one of these guys. So this is still all being researched. Okay, so I can't do that experiment. I can't do it. Okay, that's all cool. All right, then I think I'm happy with this. So what we're going to do is dress this up. I want to write a bit of a script. So at least deal with that staging that's up there at the top. And it'll deal with the countdown and stuff, but that's all pretty easy. I'm gonna simulate this one last time. We're not even gonna fly, but you'll see why I do this in just a second. And the reason I'm doing this is because I do have this flight instructions guy. So what I want to do is put in a third mission number and write the flight instructions and all the parameters that are going into McJeb. So I'm just going to copy that over. So we're going to take this else if right here. And you guys are seeing that. I just want to make sure. Yes, you are. Okay. And we're going to copy that over to here. And this is else if 3. And we're going to, well, this launched from the runway clearly doesn't mean anything. I'm just going to write in here McJeb parameters. Sent parameters. Okay, and looking here, I can see PAP at 155. $155. I'm just going to write it this way. Orbit 155 by 155. Okay, next thing here is inclination. I'm not going to, well, write inclination, yeah. Inclination is going to be, what is it, 28.55, which is just our current latitude. Okay, and I'm switching back and forth between screens, but you can't see that because you can't see two screens at the same time. Pitch start at 50 meters per second. And pitch rate is 0.8 degrees per second. I don't have a degree symbol, so I'm just going to put D per second. I'll know what that means. Not that complicated. Q trigger is 8 kilopascals. All right, almost there. And finally, the last parameter here was Q alpha of 1,000, whatever that is. Okay. So I think those are all the parameters I really need to worry about. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this for now. Here. A little bit of rearranging here, make sure that's back, and we will end the simulation. There we go. Revert back to the editor. All right, and now we need to write a bit of a boot file for this guy. So again, I'm going to, and probably a little bit of an ascent script, though it won't be much. So let's open this up again. Okay, what doesn't it like here? Oh, I have brackets the wrong, no, those brackets are right. Oh no, I got an extra bracket. I see what I did. There we go. That's cool. Okay, so I did have a redstone downrange boot, so I'm going to use that as my prototype. So we're going to save this, save as, and I'm going to call this Atlas boot, Atlas orbit boot. And yep, there we go. All that's going to be the same. All that's going to be the same. I do need to look at this. So run flight instructions all of that is simply going to be replaced by run flight instructions, but instead of 2, it's going to be 3. Perfect. Okay, now I also need to run some sort of basic orbit script. So let's see, what do I got so far? I got this downrange. That, I think, is the one that's been sort of... So let's modify this into orbit. So we'll save this one as orbit. Do I have actually a basic orbit before I get basic sounding? No. So I'm going to save that as orbit. Okay, so program name is orbit. For orbital missions. All right, so wait, this just deals with the countdown, and that's going to be fine. Now, actually, let me really take a look at... I don't know why some of these are producing errors. Oh, I think it's just confused. I want to look at my launch functions. In particular, I want to take a look at this countdown function. Is it able to detect whether those... Yes, I think it does. So, first of all, spool up is not an issue anymore. So we're going to modify this a little bit. So I'm going to delete spool up completely. I used to have this countdown wait for the engines to spool up, but McJeb does that with... Oh, wait, no, it does need the time. Because I've not... No, it should be... What does it do? Sorry, I gotta make sure this is gonna work. Oh, here we go. If ship TWR is less than 1, say suborbital, and set scrub to true, and then if it will not launch unless it's okay. I'm thinking this spool up. I'm just gonna take this out for now. I'm really thinking it's not doing anything, and I don't think I need this extra stage. I think McJeb will do that just fine for me. I'm gonna try that. Okay, so back over here on our boot file, run flight instructions. Okay, so the additional flight instructions are going to be print. I'm gonna do this in all caps. Engage McJeb. Because I sometimes forget to do that. Put a period on the end of that one. And actually what I also should do is print just blank line between the two to make that one stand out. And then finally, I think another print blank line. And what's lovely about doing this external to the actual boot file is I'm not limited to the 400 characters that I am limited to in the boot file. I can make these instructions as long as I want. Engage McJeb. And then finally, let's just open up the old... What did I call that? The... Redstone downrange boot. Engage McJeb and then run downrange, but this time I'm going to run orbit. So, flight instructions. I don't think it needs to be orbit.ks, right? God, it's been too long. No, just run orbit. Should be fine. So that should be all the instructions that it needs. And I just want to make sure if I run orbit now, because there are a couple of parameters here, payload will be false and auto stage will be false. Am I on the right one? Yes. So run the countdown. Okay, no, this is pretty cool. Okay, I got this. So payload. If payload stage, no, payload should be true. Auto stage. No, hang on. What's auto stage do? Under launch functions, I should have an auto stage function. Auto stage. Parameter cut off F thrust to weight is 1. Wait until ship is below the cutoff TWR and then stay. No. I think I'm better off with payload. What's the payload one do? Sorry, come back. Wait till APO. No, you don't need to wait till APO. That's a problem. If that's if it's deployment. Okay. I'm thinking about how to get it to stage. This is all fine, but I'm thinking of how to get it to stage that SRB automatically. And what I'm thinking, I might just make this a little more direct, and we'll figure it out later. But if I just put in here this basic orbit, right? Wait. Until altitude should just know altitude, right? Is greater than 140,000 meters. So what it's waiting for is that you're actually in space. Period. And then we're just going to put auto stage on. And what does auto stage do again? Just to be very, very clear. If parameter that, wait until ship TWR is less than cut off TWR. Cut off TWR is 1. Should be fine. Yep, then staging. Okay. So I'm just going to put in that auto stage command. So what this should do, and the reason why I didn't want to put this earlier is because McJeb is handling the auto staging and doing all the hot staging, right, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want it to sit there and get confused while McJeb is handling the auto staging. But once we're up in space above 140,000 meters, do I have the right number of zeros there? I don't. Too many zeros. There we go. Then it's going to be on that last stage. Should be good. I think so. Okay, we're going to save this. There's something it doesn't like, and I don't know what. Parameter payload is false, and it never uses the term parameter. That's what it doesn't like. I'm sure of that. I don't think that matters. We're gonna save it. We're gonna give this a try. So let's oh, and then we gotta load this in here. So we gotta go to KOS, reload all the boot files. There should now be an Atlas boot file for me. Atlas boot. Save that. Oh shoot. But we take that away from you. So all I did was put the Atlas boot file up in here into that very top form. I did that using the, and also you got to hit the KOS key here and hit reload or reread the boot folder so that anything new that you made is there. Okay, we're gonna simulate this guy. Let's save it. Simulate. See how it does. And I'm hoping I'm hoping all this runs great. So, as you can see here, I'm getting some instructions. Why didn't I get most of those instructions? Said engage McJeb, run basic, what, huh? I think I have more than one boot folder floating around. Boot file, shoot. Sorry, let's just bring this up again. Boot. I have an Albert one, I have an Atlas, I have an Atlas Orbit boot. Okay, this is an old one. Okay, I should delete that. Okay, let's, I see what happened. Okay, let's fix this. So that was an old one from my previous RP1 series. There should be an Atlas Orbit boot. That's the one I want. Now I should, you know, to try and clean things up a bit, this Atlas boot I should just delete. Move to the recycling bin. Okay. All right. Okay, save that and simulate again. Okay, I do not need these DV instructions anymore. And there we go. So now I got all these parameters. Now they are all the same as what they were before, but at least this time, right? Oh, I should also put RCS on. I mean, that's a trivial one to do with the boot file, right? Yeah, all I got to do, just do that really quick right now, is on the Atlas Orbit boot, run flight instructions, but also you simply type RCS on. I think that's all I need to do. Won't do it this time, but it'll do it next time. And then that way it does that for me. Can't get it to engage McJeb for me, unfortunately. All right, and it says run orbit. Let's see how this works. Run orbit. Oh, oh! I know why that happened. Because it never fired up the engines. Okay. Oh shoot! I left the thing on. Oh dear, I did that a lot. Then what? It didn't work. It gave me the message here. Let me show you. Oh my gosh! It gave me the message here: suborbital thrust detected, and scrub the launch because these engines never came on. So if I bring this back, I know why it did that. It's in the countdown function. And it had to do with this bit, this whole spool up business. Then I think I don't need... Oh, but then McJeb is going... Oh my god, I think I got a... Oh, okay, it's a puzzle for another time. Because I think McJeb will stay... Well, maybe it won't. I don't know. What if I just don't... Let's try taking that one out. Okay, restart simulation. Okay. And RCS on. Didn't seem to want to do that. But, oh, it probably didn't reload the boot file. Gauge autopilot. Run orbit. Okay, gonna work for me this time. Okay, so this crashed. But McJeb took control of it without too much issue after that. So what happened here? Called from archive, new start orbit, line 13. Countdown didn't. Add here, line 70, wait, spool up. Oh my gosh. I think I might have to puzzle that out another time. I think I'm going to have to puzzle that out another time. I don't want to go through all that KOSC stuff too much. And I'll show people what came out of that. We'll puzzle that out. But it's flying now. Oh, but the program has crashed, so it's not going to... Okay, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. No, I'm not going to worry about it. For editor. I was about to say that we'll see if it does the staging okay, but KOS had crashed by that point, so there's no point. So I'll figure out the KOS stuff at some future time. For now, I want to build a new launch stand for this guy. Make something that looks nice. That looks nice. Okay. And worst comes to worst, I won't use KOS and I'll just use McJeb because clearly that works fine anyway. Okay. There are... This is weird. If I go... Oh, wait. I'm here. That's why. There we go. So general launch stands. So this is a generic launch stand apparently. Oh, wait. It does not like... I don't have a node on the bottom here. Anywhere I do on those engines there, but I only have a part node. Interesting. There's no node in the middle, right? Oh wait, I do have a node there. I can do that. Okay, that's not awful. So that's sort of a generic stand. We have that's a rectangular one. We have this general round one. Kind of octagonal, but that's okay. That's cool. Kind of like it. I like it. Fits it really well. Let's throw this one away. Oh, there's the test stand that I was fitting with before. This is the Thor Delta launch stand. Ugh, that's industrial. I like it. And what else we got here? We have the Titan 2 launch stand. I think it's too big, isn't it? Just doesn't want to grab the node it's aiming for. There. No, that's not going to work. And then we have some stools, which we're not going to use. We have that one. We have another static launch stand. We have the... Oh, this is the redstone. I should have used that before. Oh, I've used that. Dope. Static one. Vanguard launch stand. That's too small. Oh, maybe not too small. But no, that doesn't work. Mini modular. I kind of do like. What was this one again? This one's the Thor, and this one's just a generic one. But I kind of thought this fit in there really well. Let's see what kind of extra plays with we can do with this. So we have clamp parts. I don't know where that went. Oh, they're down there. I don't even know what those are supposed to be doing. Like, they're just like these thin little lines that come down. We have stand style. Oh, wow. You can completely change the style of it. Well, that's no good. And then we have color. We'll play with that later. Then we have select clamp parts. Well, if I turn it off, I'm not even sure what that just did. I don't know what that did. We have, oh, that's just the above part. I'm sorry. I understand. That's just selecting what's up here. We have bolt height. Oh, that jumped it down quite a lot. I like that. Oh, even better. Now I'm debating though. Let's go back to this stand style. And now put the bolt height up. That's tolerable, I think. And then we have these. The RS-27 engine. Oh, I see. JLR-79 engine. That's the one we got. But unfortunately, I have two of them. I think that's what's sort of throwing it a little bit. And then do you just put this on the ground? Oops. Ah, what'd I do? I wanted to hit shift and click. There we go. Do you just sit this on the ground like that? That looks kind of dorky. Kind of leaning back towards what I had before now. Go back to that octagonal one. What kind of options does it have? All right, we have size and okay, we have size presets. Okay, that's just for these little things here. So yeah, they just go in. Oh, that's too tight. That was pretty nice though. Yeah. Oh, it's making it smaller and smaller. I get it. So this one here is pretty good. We have stand style. Hey, I like that. What if you do that with a little less on the size? No, that doesn't make a difference. But I like it. All right, we got color again. We'll play with that. We have clamp parts. That's just doing something on the bottom. Again, I don't know what that's... Maybe just a... I don't know. But I would think you would take this then and you would just lower it down into the ground. Like that. Okay. What else we got? We got supports. So there's supports that can go up here. There. So just various support configurations. I kind of like this one best. Just seems to fit well with that. Oh, and then you can length of that plate, you can adjust them. Yeah, that's good. We have bolts that you can move. Again, various configurations of where those bolts can go. I think honestly those ones there might be best. And then you can bolt spread. Maybe that first one was a good idea. Go with that still. Okay, and bolt type. That's what I was looking at just now, right? Yes, it was. Oh, no, it wasn't. Bolt type. Just makes them longer, shorter. There we go. I think that works. Like that. Okay, and then we got arms. Ooh, like release clamps. I like them on the side there. Can I move them? Let's keep playing. That's 4 now, and that's all 4 that way, but I actually like them there. Can I move them in? Okay. A little bit clippy there. But honestly, I think it's tolerable. Maybe they're better in a different spot. And then spread them out. Fortunately, this one now is not touching at all. That's the problem, isn't it? Well, we can pretend. But at least now they're not clipping into this structure here. Or maybe just not have them. I think that's probably better. And arm color, obviously I'm not having them. And then this is just the select various ones. Now I can play with the stand color. Different shades of various things here. We'll just go dark. There we go. Alright, so there's our launch stand. I'm gonna go with that. I think that looks pretty good. All that is certainly in the wrong spot. It needs to be here, and that needs to be there. There we go. Do we have... Yes, like an umbilical pole. I can throw this on somewhere, can't I? Oh, I see. There's little nodes on the side here. That's what I'm looking for. So, umbilical length. I can make the umbilical long. Oh, it does not. It's not that long. Can I move it somewhere else? Are there nodes higher up? No, all these nodes are far, far away. Shoot, so I don't think that's going to work for me. A mini modular service tower. Do you put another one on top? That's getting a little bit. Vanguard service tower. That really quite works. Oh, that was something I was getting wrong. People were telling me about this pedal cover and I was doing it wrong, but... And then we have general launch plates. We have those stools there. We have guide rails. All these are inappropriate. We have more launch bases here. Pretty nice. I might just kind of go with what I got. Just forget about the umbilical. I liked having an umbilical though. Delta 4 service tower. These are probably getting no freaking heck. Oh, an Atlas 5 service mast. That thing's huge too. Delta 2. Yeah, these are getting really big. General strong back tower large. An Atlas Agena server. Oh my god. We're gonna stay away from these. Delta. General strong back tower. Okay, this one's not as big. Kind of neat. Can you extend the length adjust? That's these. They're already as far as they go. That's kind of cool. Oh, you can vertically adjust these. Length adjust. Thing is, it doesn't really work, does it? Oh, you can adjust where that goes. Now, let's throw you away. Crew elevators. That's clearly. We got various generic hold-down clamps. But I think I got the built-in ones already. We have swing arms and umbilicals. Which have to be connected to some kind of tower, I'm assuming. Soyuz launch bases, Saturn V launch bases, Space Shuttle launch bases, miscellaneous, an Atlas launch stand alternate. You know what? I think I'm going to stick with what I got here. I really do. Yeah, I don't want those engines in the ground, so we'll go a little bit higher. I think I'm just going to go with that. Now, I also want to kind of pretty this a little bit. Now, I don't think I have any ability to color that arrow B up at the top. I do not. So let's see if we can at least get this to kind of match it a little bit. So... ba-bum-bum-bum. Where's my head? Open the coloring GUI. There's various textures, so let's play with the textures. So the side textures. I think really basic like that's not a bad plan. And if we go with the second coloring detail on the side, black paint, I want to just kind of match what's already there. There's a stock black. It's not a metallic black. Like, that's shiny. I could do that and just take the specular out of it. Right? That'll make it less... yeah. Specular. So it just is a little less reflective. There, that's looking a little more like what's below it. And then we'll make that very top one, which I think is the detail one. Is that just white then? No, it looks pretty white already. What is this? This is just metallic up at the top. So yeah, looking at that, wouldn't mind making that white. Maybe just forget about it, but... no, it's not changing that. Ah, that changes the top. There we go. I'm good with that. Okay, cool. There we go. So, now looking at the whole rest of the rocket. Now, what kind of textures do we have here to play with? Starting on the bottom. So, going through here, we do have, we can fiddle with rivets. Kind of like this one. And I'm pretty sure there's a texture hiding in here somewhere. What's... oh, that just rotates the bottom. I don't... oh, I could have done that earlier, but I didn't do... okay. Nose texture. Core texture. That's just what I was playing with. Mount texture. There is a coloring GUI. So I can open up this coloring GUI, but I thought you'd be able to put on textures and things like that. But I guess not. Other than just fiddling around with kind of these rivet colors. Like that. Alright, so why don't we see, we'll paint the whole core of this. Oh, it's the mount and the nose, but not the body? What? I can only change... that doesn't seem right. I should be able to change this. Come on. Come on. Let's go through this again. Mount, rotate, nose, mount. Yep. Nose texture. Okay, so I can fiddle with that. I'm fine with that. And then core texture, which really wasn't that much. Open diameter selection. Let's just avoid that. Select nose, select mount, reset model to original. Tank UI, choose tank type. I'm just stunned I can't it feels like I can't do anything with this, but you gotta be able to do something with that. Like it can't just be the nose and the mount and everything else stays the same. Like that just seems just wrong. I'm gonna pick that, this black, this. Okay, well, we'll move to here for now. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, we'll fiddle with this. Open the coloring GUI. Instead of... Go again white. Yeah, just go white. Go white all the way up. White there, white there, white there, white there. I just want to kind of make this white. That's what's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. Open coloring GUI. I feel like I'm just missing something super obvious. You should be able to edit nose main, mount. That's just various colors. What if I just went back? Maybe that has something to do with it, the textures I'm picking. Ah, now I got the core. So it's because of the texture I had. So if I go to here, I can start making it a white color. Core. White. There we go. But it's just like solid white and that's it, I guess. Okay, I guess that's what it is. I don't see anything turning red there with that little move. Or that one. Alright, fine. We'll do that. Let's just put some text then on the side here. So, we are gonna go with, this is gonna be a multinational thing here. So we're gonna go put some text on here. And we're gonna just make this is gonna be an American booster. Like that. We're gonna switch the text to being vertical. Like so. We're going to switch the font. We can go with, I think we'll go with the USAF like that. Make it bold. I think that works, just like that. Maybe make it a smidge smaller because it is sort of... Okay. And... you know, might go better on the sides where there's just more room. Am I on two-way symmetry? Two-way symmetry. There we go. Now I can make this a little bigger. There, that looks good. Okay, and we'll grab a good old-fashioned... Put one on each side. Select the flag. I should have an American flag hiding in here somewhere. Thought I did. Oh, maybe I screwed up with my American flag. Oh, there it is. Accept. Okay. And change the depth of that because part of that's disappearing. And maybe make it a little smaller. Up a little towards the top. There we go. At least something dress. Oh, there is a... Okay, I got some red here. Interesting. Open coloring GUI. Let's just make that black paint. Oh. Back to white. Core. That one, black. Nope, it was this one, black. There we go. And I love the way, like, if you take a look at the decal, how the decal actually conforms around even that little bit, right? That looks cool. Okay. That's all good. That's all good. Now the top thing up here, we'll stick with the same kind of coloring scheme. Let's again play with the textures. I think just really basic black and white stripes like that I think is a good idea. We'll make these fins just black. Period. Black paint. Black paint. Black paint. Black paint like that. We'll take this guy, open that coloring GUI, make the sides of it a white color. It's good old white and black. Secondary color is black paint. Black paint, not shiny black paint. Same with this one. Open coloring GUI. Secondary color is black paint, not shiny black, just black. Okay, and oh, I can see as well. Open that. Very top. Black paint. Beautiful. Okay, and this one, because it's got a British motor on here, we're going to represent that. So we're going to put, I don't know what yet. I got a couple of British things to put on here. Let's select something. Now I do have the RAF bullseye thing. I think I might just do that. I do have a Union Jack too, but I think I might just do this. Let's just increase that so it can... Oh, I like the way they join together on each side like that. That's pretty neat. It looks a little weird, I think. What about a Union Jack? How does that look if I did that? Then I'll decide which I like. There's my... they don't mesh very well, do they? I think it does look better than these weird... They look like eyeballs when they were... maybe right at the very top, and just kind of shrink it just a bit. Just bring the scale down just a bit. Actually, I kind of now like it really big like that. There we go. Me likey. Okay, and then finally, here, we'll put some more text. So the top part. Obviously, that text should change to United. So this is an international effort here. Wonderful. Okay, and then finally, up at the top, we got a little bit of avionics here to fiddle with. Again, textures. Where are we here? Why did I lose track? Where? There we are. This can get so long. I like it. Okay, open the coloring GUI. And I'm going to take that very top color and make it black as well. Oh, that was the bottom. That can be white. But maybe this one's black? Yeah, that's the idea. And then that middle one too. So for whatever reason, it's not too terribly black, is it? Oh, whatever. It is what it is. And then finally, there is a tiny little can right here, which I'm just going to open the coloring GUI and just paint it black like that. Okay. Because you got to make it look okay. Oh, and this is, by the way, now the Atlas Stentor. I think it's STNTOR, something like that. Let's look at my motors again. There it is. STNTOR. STNTOR, yeah. I like it. We're gonna stick with that, and let's save it. And we're gonna do a simulation just to make sure the launch clamp works and all that kind of stuff. Simulate. Okay. And woo, you are kind of homely. I just want to see how these launch clamp, the whole launch system here works, if that works really well. Okay, so engage RCS is on. Oh, boot file put it on that time. I didn't do that. And this time I'm not going to run the orbit. I'm simply going to stage it. And let's see. Do these little bolts here release? Oh, that's really bad. Okay. I'm sorry. Revert to editor. Okay, we're a little too tight to the rocket. We got some things glitching in here. Maybe we can do some modifying. So if I change the stand style to just this, I'm thinking that might help it out a lot. And the color was fine. There was a stand height adjust. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's cool. I didn't even notice that was a thing. Okay, I want to bring in, I think it's these guys that were the problem, these supports. No, that was okay. Plate. That, I think that's where the issue was. I think those plates were clipping into it. But now, can I do the bolt? Yeah, I can put the, I slipped, but I can move the bolts in. I think that is going to be better. Right there. Maybe make the height a little lower. There. So we lost that whole top part. I can't put on an umbilical, right? It still is not going to lay. No, the umbilical's part, all these latches for this umbilical's too far away, which is too bad. Okay. All right, we're going to try that again. Simulate. All right. Again, not going to bother with the countdowns or anything. Let's just make sure it lets go this time. Stage. Oh my God, this isn't working. Okay, it has to be these plates are just too close. So let's pull these plates way back. And again, this bolt. That guy. But I mean, they should be against the rocket, right? I mean, you would think. Oh, wait a second. Or is it getting... No, it can't be... No, it's not. It should clear everything. Boy, I should have just stuck with the basic stock clamps if it's going to be this fussy. Okay. I'm going to remove all the plates and stuff. I don't know if it has anything to do with any of that, to be honest. So let's just revert back to the editor. So right-click on here. Take all this extra stuff out of here. All these plates gone. Well, you can't completely just pull them back. And there was these bolts. You can take those off, right? No, they're still around somewhere. Oh no, that one has them gone. Now I have no bolts at all. Off, okay. Last go. Alright. I'm really worrying. Yeah, I think it just has to do with how it's attached. I don't think it has to do with the plates. Frickety frackety froo. That... Okay, I can make it bigger, right? But it might have to do with the fact that it's attached to a node in the middle of all of this rather than... Do you see what I'm saying? Like the attachment node is in the middle of this thing here. I'm not attaching it to a motor, but I can't... Wait. I can't because it'd be off to the side. I think it's that attachment node it doesn't like. There is a size preset. I can make it bigger. Oh no, that makes it smaller. That makes it bigger. Okay. This is going to be the last go, and then I'm going to go to... I don't know, just the regular launch clamps. I want to get this thing building, for goodness sakes. Yeah, I think this is not going to work for me. I think it's the way the stand is attached. Yeah, it's not working. So, revert to the editor. Sorry, I'm pushing the wrong button here. So I'm just going to... Oh, that was a lot of work for no reason, wasn't it? I'm going to go to just basic launch clamps. Just like these fellas for now. There. And I do want to try one last thing. And that is, can I disable this engine? I want to see how McJeb handles... no, it's not going to do it right. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Okay, let's... Oh, I got a lot of tooling, a lot of other crap I got to do, but the one thing I'm going to need to do is modify my launch complex, because this thing is well over the mass of any previous rockets that I've flown. So I need to modify my launch complex. And let's see, it's recommending upgrade limit to max tonnage is 34. What does that mean? It's in yellow. Does that mean I can't do this? I don't think so. My previous max... Oh, maybe I do need to build a new... Will it not let me make a new one? Or, like, modify this? It says I also need to get the length with height 31 meters. This guy's 20. What happens if I just hit modify? Cannot upgrade tonnage limits above 34. So I have to actually build an entirely new launch complex. Oh my gosh. So new launch complex. This is going to be the Atlas complex. So it won't let me upgrade the old one because it's just too frickin' huge, okay? And max height is 32 meters. We'll go with that for now. I can always upgrade it later. 77 tons. This guy currently has just shy of 70 tons. Okay, we're going to build that. And how long is this going to take? 160 days to build just that. That's even before I get into building this rocket. And there's tooling and crap I got to do with that too. Alrighty, so here it is. November. And it's now May. So the Atlas Launch Complex isn't going to be ready until November. Oh, and if I go to integration, I now have a redstone complex which is doing nothing. Wait, whoa, I was thinking I might dismantle it, but hang on. I might be able to get them to work not on all of this, but part of this. Does that make sense? Because the Redstone Launch Complex can do between 23 and 31 tons. I can start building some of this. Now it is almost 70 tons. So if I start splitting this up, hang on a second here. Let's open up these fairings. If I take that away, that is 9 tons. So that's below what I can do. Can I modify the complex? Okay, yeah, I can modify. There's no warning this time. And it only takes 7 days to make the modification. So in 7 days, I can modify it and I can put the engineers to work to building this thing. That'll make some sense. Can I get them to build the bottom half? Will that work? Cancel this for a second. If I make this the root part and take the top half off. Oh, this is 60 tons. And this is the limit is 34 tons. I could take all the fuel out. Hang on. Wouldn't that work? If I removed all the fuel out of this tank. So just there's a button here to take the fuel. Remove all tanks. Now we're at only 2 tons. Can I modify it now? And if not, I could put in enough fuel. Yeah, you could just put in the fuel to keep it within the... Oh my god. Hang on, this is really... If I put in... It feels like a cheat, and I just got to remember to put the utilization back. Okay, fill this back up for the motors I got. It's back up to 60 tons. But if all I did... If I'm only allowed to build up to 31 tons, here's the quickest way to lose weight, isn't it? Oh, why won't... Let me turn down the utilization. Why won't you let me turn down the utilization? What am I doing wrong? Okay, I can do that. And now I'm at 37 tons. I mean, yeah, it feels like a cheat. Then I don't have to modify this at all. Oh, I do for the width. Because it's too wide. Not too tall, but too wide. Okay. And how long would that modification take? That modification will take 11 days. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of modifications. It makes sense to me to do this. This one feels closer than... Oh, but then I'm going big and then going really small. I don't know if it really matters. Now, I have saved this. Let's throw this business into an action or into a subassembly. And we'll call this the Stentor slash what was at the top? It was like an Aerobee, not an Aerobee, an Aerojet. Okay, and that needs to get integrated. But now what I can do is throw that away. Close this. Bum, 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 bum. Closing. Save this is simply the Atlas booster. Minus needs fuel. Don't forget that. Okay. And we can now do these modifications. Why not? So I'm going to save that. Modify. Now if I get out of here. Now if I get out of here and go combined. I actually have two things going on at the same time. Right? Because we are modifying. Isn't that in here somewhere? Hangar, Atlas Launch Complex. But isn't the redstone construction? Will one not happen before the other one is done? Oh, I'm so confused. So let's go to here. No, integration. There's a redstone. Is that not being modified? Oh, I didn't have... No, I did need to modify it, right? Because the width was wrong. I don't understand what just happened. So if I hit modify... I don't think I hit the button. I think I did something stupid. Okay, now if I go into here... show high management and go to combined. Redstone complex is being modified. That's going to come up actually pretty quick, only in 9 days. And then as soon as it's modified, we'll get engineers to start work. I'm going to give my engineers something to do, by gum, and hopefully maybe we'll get this all integrated and then we put it together in the Atlas launch complex. Oh, I feel pretty good about that. The other last thing I do want to do is, because I think it's going to be a while before I'm going to be able to make use of this orbital rocketry. Like, you know, we're going to launch this thing first. So I'm going to push up hypersonic flight. Hypersonic flight has the X-15, I think it is called, the X-15 cockpit, which is vacuum capable. You can get your Kerbals up over the Kármán line. And that's important because the capstone contract of the X-Planes research program is to get Kerbals over the Kármán line of 100 kilometers. But I think I'm gonna leave that like that. So okay, that feels pretty good. All right, but anyway, looking at the time, I think this is going to definitely be the end of this video. So I'm going to thank you for watching and hope to see you again for the next one.